SpaceX is preparing to launch the first Block 3 Starship. Flight 12 will fly Booster 19 and Ship 39, two vehicles that look similar to the ships and boosters that came before them, but are fundamentally different under the skin. Block 3 is the first orbital-capable generation of this system. Every flight before this was a technology demonstration, and Flight 12 is the beginning of the operational era. The launch window opens in late February or March of 2026, which means we are roughly 6 to 10 weeks away from watching Raptor 3 engines fire in space for the first time. Now that part is wild. SpaceX has never flown Raptor 3 on an orbital mission. 33 of them will power the booster. 6 will power the ship. If this works, the path to orbital refueling in June and a lunar landing demonstration in 2027 is a clear runway. If it does not, though, NASA's Artemis program has zero backup plan. Booster 19 was fully stacked on December 24th, 2025. SpaceX completed the assembly in 25 days, half the time it took to stack Booster 17, the final Block 1 vehicle. Now that production speed is crazy. Block 3 boosters are approximately 1.5 meters taller than Block 2, with an integrated vented interstage fused directly into the methane tank. Now the unpressurized interstage section that added structural mass on earlier boosters is completely gone. The 33 Raptor 3 engines generate an estimated 9,240 metric tons of thrust at sea level compared to 7,590 metric tons at Block 2. That is a 19 to 22% increase. And we're going to talk about what changed in the engine design today, why SpaceX is not attempting a booster catch on this flight, and what the COPV failure on Booster 18 means for Ship 39, and we'll get right into that right after this very short break. Raptor 3 is the new power plant. Each engine produces approximately 280 metric tons of thrust at sea level compared to 230 and 235 metric tons for Raptor 2. That's a 45 to 50 metric ton increase per engine. Chamber pressure rises to roughly 350 bar, up from 300 bar on the previous version. And despite all the additional performance, Raptor 3 is lighter than Raptor 2. The design is simpler, the part count is much lower, and manufacturing has sped up. And SpaceX needs that production speed to hit the launch cadence required for Starlink deployments, orbital refueling operations, and eventually Mars missions. Raptor 3 also supports multiple relights and vacuum, which is essential for deorbit burns and the propellant transfer demonstrations planned for later this year. Ship 39 was fully stacked in November 2025. It is also approximately 1.5 meters taller than Block 2 ships, with a redesigned hot staging ring that integrates more efficiently with the booster interface. The forward flaps have been repositioned and resized to minimize reentry heating while maintaining control authority. The tile design has been up. 6 Raptor 3 engines power the upper stage, each capable of roughly 280 metric tons of thrust in vacuum optimized configuration, and Block 3 ships also incorporate hardware for in-space refueling operations, including docking ports and a redesigned quick disconnect that makes them suitable for orbital propellant transfer tests planned for June of this year. In late November 2025, Booster 18 experienced a liquid oxygen tank rupture during gas system testing at Massey's outpost. SpaceX attributed the failure to a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or COPV, located near the tank's chines. The COPV is a high-pressure container made of metal lined with composite fiber used to store gases like helium and nitrogen that pressurize the propellant tanks. The failure destroyed Booster 18 before it even flew. In response, SpaceX conducted a precautionary inspection of Ship 39 and likely replaced COPVs on the vehicle with upgraded versions featuring additional composite fiber layers and improved thermal and vibration. Test tank B1 8.1, a Block 3 booster test article, underwent extensive cryogenic load testing in mid-December, including 15-hour continuous load cycles to validate the new COPV design under extreme reusability scenarios. Now, I've been digging through the analytics of the show and noticed that 37% of you are actually following this channel, and I love you. Thank you so much for all of your support. And the other 63% of you haven't hit the follow or subscribe button. And I've been an independent journalist covering SpaceX, Elon Musk, and spaceflight and tech for the last 7 years. And I'll continue for the next 10 years. And all I ask for you is 1 second of your time to hit the follow or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening or watching right now. Thank you so much. Now, Flight 12 will be the first orbital launch from Pad 2 at Starbase. The tower was fully stacked in 2024. The orbital launch mount was installed in May 2025. Ground systems integration is now in progress. Pad 2 is SpaceX's next generation launch pad architecture and will serve as the template for all future Starship facilities, including LC-39A at Kennedy Space Center and SLC-37 at Cape Canaveral. And one critical innovation is the elimination of Raptor quick disconnects on the boosters. Propellant loading now relies on 2 dedicated booster quick disconnects, one for liquid methane and one for liquid oxygen, simplifying assembly and reducing interface complexity. And the flame trench has been upgraded with a dual flame bucket configuration, one at each end, effectively doubling thermal capacity to support higher Raptor 3 thrust. SpaceX will not attempt to catch Booster 19 at the pad. That is a conservative decision reflecting the unknowns surrounding Raptor 3 engine performance and the risks of the new hot staging ring design. Instead, the booster will execute a boost back burn and splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico. The grid fin configuration has been reduced from 4 fins to 3, arranged in a 90-90-180 degree pattern, and repositioned lower on the vehicle to reduce thermal exposure during stage separation. And these fins also serve as dual-purpose catch points for future flights. The reduced thermal environment will be validated during Flight 12, and the data will inform whether SpaceX attempts a booster catch on Flight 13 or at a later flight. Ship 39 will attempt a controlled reentry over the Indian Ocean with all thermal protection intact. Unlike Flights 10 and 11, which intentionally stress tested the heat shield by removing tiles and vulnerable areas, Flight 12 will pursue a cleaner reentry profile. And the mission objectives include validating the new tile design, demonstrating in-space Raptor 3 relight capabilities, also testing guidance algorithms tuned for Block 3's different mass distribution and aerodynamics, and also gathering real-world data on heat shield performance. Ship 39 will execute a landing flip, landing burn sequence, and a soft splashdown. No operational payload will be deployed. Starlink deployment is expected on subsequent Block 3 flights once systems prove reliable in orbit. And this testing timeline is very tight. As of early January 2026, Booster 19 is fully stacked and undergoing final preparation for cryogenic proof testing. That test loads the structure with cryogenic propellant to validate all welds and structural integrity. Booster 19 static fire is projected for mid-January, and the first hot fire test of all 33 Raptor 3 engines. Ship 39 cryogenic testing follows, then Ship 39 static fire in late January, the wet dress rehearsal, a full countdown simulation with propellant loading and abort procedures is expected in early February. The FCC communications window opens January 23rd and extends through June 28th, 2026. The more likely launch date is late February or March 2026, depending on test completions, and the critical path requires approximately 8 to 12 weeks from current status to first launch attempt. And NASA's Artemis program depends on Starship success. This is huge. The agency has no alternative to the human landing system than SpaceX. And the orbital refueling demonstration planned for June of 2026 is the milestone that unlocks NASA's confidence in Starship for lunar missions. That demonstration requires 2 Starship launches, with one vehicle serving as a tanker and transferring propellant to the other in orbit. Any delay in Flight 12 cascades through the entire 2026 roadmap. If the refueling demo slips in time, so does the uncrewed lunar landing demonstration targeted for 2027. And if that slips, the crewed lunar landing on Artemis 3 in 2028 becomes uncertain. SpaceX's 2026 roadmap depends on Flight 12 succeeding. Quarter 1 brings Block 3 validation with Raptor 3 performance data and hot staging ring proof. Quarter 2 brings the orbital refueling demonstration. The second half of 2026 brings operational missions, including Starlink V3 test satellites and possibly early human landing system hardware validation flights. And by 2027, SpaceX is targeting an uncrewed lunar landing. By 2028, the goal is a crewed return to the moon. It's an aggressive timeline, but it's also the timeline NASA is counting on. Blue Origin's New Glenn remains in development. China's Long March 9 program is proceeding in parallel. The geopolitical stakes of SpaceX's execution are absolutely real. Flight 12 is not a test. It's the foundation for everything that comes next for SpaceX. These are the lessons of 11 prior flights. The design is streamlined, manufacturing is simplified, structures are integrated, engine performance is tailored for usability. SpaceX's iterative approach, validating design changes on test articles before flying operation vehicles, has reduced the risk of encountering the same COPV failures in destroyed Booster 18. 39 COPV swap in the extended test campaign of B18.1 are amazing. Raptor 3 has undergone extensive ground testing, but on-orbit validation introduces variables that ground tests just can't replicate. That is why SpaceX is foregoing the booster catch, prioritizing data over the spectacle of catching the booster. Success of Flight 12 clears the path forward, and failure would set the program back months, possibly a year, and create uncertainty that extends all the way to NASA headquarters.